A millionaire's wife lay unconscious in the middle of the street, her swollen belly rising with each shallow breath. Cars sped past and people stared, but no one stopped except for him. A black boy, barely a teenager, ran to her side, his hands trembling as he checked for signs of life. He had no idea that saving her would change his life forever, or that his simple request in return would leave the millionaire and the world completely stunned. What did he ask for? And why did it shake the millionaire to his core? Keep watching. Jaden never expected his life to intersect with the world of the wealthy. At just 14, he was used to being invisible. Just another black kid in a poor neighborhood, running errands for his sick mother. That evening, he was heading home from the corner store, a bag of groceries in one hand, his worn-out sneakers slapping against the pavement. Then he saw it. A woman collapsed in the street, pregnant, struggling for breath. People passed by, some glancing, others pretending not to see. Jaden's heart pounded. Every second counted. But he hesitated. Would they blame him if something went wrong? He took a deep breath. He couldn't walk away. What he didn't know was that stepping forward would change everything. Jaden dropped to his knees beside the woman, his hands shaking as he pressed two fingers to her neck. A pulse, faint but there. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" No response. Her skin was clammy, her breath shallow. Panic tightened in his chest. "Somebody call 911!" he shouted. People stood frozen. A man in a suit frowned but didn't move. A woman clutched her purse tighter and stepped back. Jaden felt their eyes on him, not as a helper but as a threat. Then came the sirens. Flashing red and blue lights cut through the evening glow. Tires screeched. Two officers jumped out, but they weren't looking at the woman. They were looking at him. "Step away from her. Hands where we can see them." Jaden's breath hitched. "I was just trying to help," he stammered, raising his hands. "Now!" one barked, hand on his holster. Jaden swallowed hard. He knew better than to argue. Slowly he stepped back, but another voice cut through the chaos before he could speak. "What the hell are you doing? That kid saved my wife's life." A man pushed through the crowd, tall, sharp suit, fury in his eyes. The millionaire. But Jaden didn't feel relief. At that moment, he realized something terrifying. Saving her wasn't enough to make them see him as a hero. Jaden's chest tightened as the officer's fingers hovered over his holster. The air felt razor thin, charged with unspoken threats. He had seen stories like this before. Black boys mistaken for criminals, their lives reduced to headlines. The millionaire stepped closer, his voice sharp. "Are you out of your mind? That kid saved my wife." But the officers barely glanced at him. Their focus stayed on Jaden. "He was kneeling over an unconscious woman," one officer said. "We had to assess the situation." Jaden's fist clenched. Assess the situation. He had been trying to save her, but to them, he wasn't a hero, just a suspect. Then a gasp. The woman stirred, her fingers twitching. She opened her eyes with great effort and whispered, "The boy, he saved me." Silence. The officers hesitated. The crowd murmured. The millionaire turned to Jaden, his expression unreadable. Then, disbelieving, he asked, "Son, what do you want in return?" Jaden swallowed hard. His answer would change everything. Jaden exhaled slowly, steadying his voice. "I don't want money. I don't want gifts. I want change." The millionaire frowned. "What do you mean?" Jaden met his gaze. "I want you to use your voice, your power, to make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to someone else." His hands trembled at his sides. "Because next time, the world might not be watching." The crowd, once silent, began murmuring. The officers shifted uncomfortably. Still weak but alert, the woman reached for her husband's hand. "He's right," she whispered. A beat of silence. Then the millionaire nodded, turning to the officers. You profiled him. You saw his skin before you saw his actions. His voice was steel. That ends today. Jaden's story made headlines days later, not as a suspect, but as a hero. The footage went viral. The millionaire used his platform to call out racial profiling, pledging to fund initiatives for social justice. But for Jaden, this wasn't about going viral. It was about something more profound. Because for every Jaden who makes it out alive, countless others don't. So the question remains, how many more times before the world truly listens? If you enjoyed this story and thought it provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful narratives. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in this situation? Your support helps bring more eye-opening stories to life.